Hey, it's your girl, your favorite paralegal, aka Cassandra Lynn, and welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. Hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. So this is by request. Someone wanted me to look into Obadiah's loans sentencing. I promise you, I do not keep up with this. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and see what I can find out and further explain what's going on. So they advised that he was sentenced to 60 years in prison, and but they were just kind of confused based off of the information that was on the website. So I'm just going to present to you guys, the information that I looked into and the reason as to why it says what it says. But first, let's go to the actual article that was put out. Um, when was that? It was last year in regards to this. So this article is from Baltimore Witness, and it says jury convicts attempted unaliving suspect, and it reads that the 32-year-old Obadiah Malone was convicted of attempted unaliving and other charges before Baltimore City Circuit Court Judge Alan Carl Lazero. On April 1st, the jury found Malone guilty of attempted first-degree unaliving in relation to an incident that occurred on October 10th, 2022 on the 1900 block of Bradish Avenue. Represented by defense attorney Bradley McPhee, Malone was also found guilty of firearm use in a violent crime, reckless endangerment, illegal possession of a regulated firearm, illegal possession of ammunition, having a loaded handgun on his person, having a loaded handgun in a vehicle, and discharging firearms. It says, however, no verdicts were rendered for attempted second degree unaliving, first degree assault, and second degree assault. Evidence in Malone's trial included surveillance footage, 911 calls, DNA evidence, and a shot spotter audio of a pow pow fire. Among the video clips were multiple shots of the suspect wearing items that matched a pair of shoes and a sweatshirt found at the defendant's girlfriend's house, where the prosecution claims she was allegedly hiding them. The aggravated evidence led to the jury. Well, the aggravated evidence led the jury to a conviction. And so on August 19th of 2024, he was actually sentenced, and the judge actually rendered his deposition on yesterday. And so we're going to get into that. But before we do, I in y'all, when I tell y'all I was going back and forth, I was like, okay, let me just create a spreadsheet right quick because it is confusing, but I like to see everything in one stop. So, initially, these are the charges that he was initially charged with: attempted first degree unaliving, attempted second degree unaliving, assault in the first degree, assault in the second degree, firearm use, reckless endangerment, firearm possession, I guess illegal possession of a firearm. He had two counts of those. He had, CDS possession of firearm, illegal ammunition or possession of ammunition, loaded handgun, um, on person, loaded handgun, I believe, in the vehicle, and then also discharging of the firearm. All right. And so obviously y'all can see the counts here. Um, and let's see. Now, initially, he pled guilty to pretty much all of these. I forgot to fill those in, but he pled guilty to all the charges. And like some people do that, right? Then they came back with evidence, and then obviously it went to a jury trial, and the jury ruled in this manner. Well, I would say their verdict, not ruled, but their verdict. He was found guilty in the first degree. Uh of unaliving. He was found guilty for firearm use, reckless endangerment, and possession of a firearm. He was also found guilty of illegal possession of ammunition, having a gun on his person, a loaded handgun on his person and in vehicle, and discharging a firearm. Okay. There was no verdict on the second degree in the to assault because, as they stated, they did away with that. And then, as far as the illegal, I believe probably illegal carrying of the firearm and possession of a firearm, those were not sent to the jury. Now, here are the sentences for each one, and I'm going to show you guys on the other screen those sentences. So, for the first degree unaliving, he was sentenced to 80 years. And then there's a note that says suspend all but 40 years. So that means that he would have to do 40 years on just this charge alone. For the fire use, 20 years. For the reckless endangerment, 5 years. Possession of a firearm, 5 years. Illegal possession of ammunition, 1 year. And these all set these with the jail time. Loaded handgun on person and in the vehicle, it was both 10 years, and then discharging of the firearm 1 years. So when you add up all those counts, that's like that's 100. I said that's like that is 132 years. But the judge suspended 40 years. That's what it says down here. But he has to do a time of 60 years in prison. Once he does those 60 years in prison and he gets out, and this is standard procedure. That's why when some of you go onto the website, you will see probation, because that's, when you get out of prison or you get out of jail, you're either placed on probation or parole. So after that 60 years is up, he will be on 5 year supervised probation, and that is upon release. All right. So now let's get into the actual docket. So this is his docket. This is crazy. So this is the criminal indictment. Oh, I'm still here. So this is pretty much what I read to you guys. All right. And so you see how he pled not guilty. So all of that. So we're going to pass through all of that because I already went through all of that with you guys. All right. So here is pretty much the sentencing. His start date is December 28th, 2022. So that's where his time to serve starts. So he has 60 years. So he's already done some time, right? Because it's 2025. So 40 years is suspended. His time served is 60 years. Once he is released, he will be placed on 5 years of supervision or supervised probation by the Parole and Probation Board. He would have to report to Baltimore City. Now, if during that 5 years, and we know that he's going to be old by this time, but once he gets out and he is placed on that 5 year probation, he cannot get in trouble within that 5 years. If he gets in trouble, then this right here, he will have to go back to jail and serve the remainder of that sentence. Now, these would be his conditions upon release, but they started yesterday because I want y'all to pay attention to this part. Number one clearly states do not physically or verbally threaten any employee of the Department of Safety and Correctional Services. So while he is in prison, he cannot physically or verbally threaten If he does, that is a violation, which would pretty much throw his suspended sentence out the window. Now, once he is out, these are the remainder of the conditions that he would have to follow: pay all fines, costs, restitution fees, appear in court when notified to do so, obey all laws, notify a supervisor if charged with a criminal offense, get permission from court before owning dangerous weapons, permit your supervising agent to visit your home, do not illegally possess, use, or sell any narcotic, get permission from supervisor before changing addresses, work or attend school regularly, all standard conditions, report, follow your supervisor's lawful instructions, and whatever other conditions that they have set. So he would have to follow 2 and 13 once he is out on that 5-year probation. But it started to include, so it started yesterday to include this. So that means while he is incarcerated, he cannot verbally nor physically threaten an employee. If he does, then he's looking at spending the remainder of his time in prison. So you already did 60 years, get out, those next 5 years and do everything by the book. So that way, if you don't, you're going to land yourself back doing 40 years. While in there, you better do everything by the book. Because if you don't, you're going to be looking at doing the remainder of your 40 years. Don't threaten, don't verbally abuse any employee at that facility, or you're looking to do the remainder of that 40 years. So that is simply what it means. Okay. I also pulled this up because this is what a lot of you are searching. And so here it does show for each of the charges. He had a total of 14 charges, but did they? Yeah. So I think they list information on each of those charge. So just going again for the first degree unaliving, it was 80 years. All was suspended but 40 years. Okay. And then he had 20 years on this one, 5 years on that one, 5 years on that one. So all of those years added up. All of those years added up. But the judge was like, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to suspend 40, and I'm going to allow you to serve 60. Now, I don't know if there is like, okay, you do a percentage of that and then you get out. I have to do further research on that. But based off of me just reading the court docket and gathering this information to you guys, that's all I have. So this is what I am able to interpret from this. So he has 40 years suspended, but he has to do 60 years in prison. Once he is out, once he has done his time served, then he will be placed on a 5-year supervised probation. But if he mess up in any way, that suspended 40 years is out the window. He's going to have to go ahead and do that time. And also, one of his conditions is that he cannot threaten or verbally or physically, he cannot threaten a correctional officer or any employee at the facility that he is at right now. If he does, then he might as well kiss that suspended sentence goodbye. So hopefully this clears up any confusion. um, I am going to see about how they serve their time. If this is going to be, straight time, or if he's going to do a percentage. I'm not too familiar when it comes to Maryland criminal law, but I do know that all of the sentences were running concurrent, meaning that all at the same time. Okay, so it's not consecutive; it is concurrent. So he is serving all of those sentences at the same time. All of those are concurrent with the first degree unaliving. All right. If you have any questions, definitely Put them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer these questions for you. Only related to Obadiah, no one else. Only Obadiah, because that is what this video is about. Once again, put your comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until then, you all be blessed and I'm out. Bye.